This story isn't just about a fast food worker or a president. It's about honor, humility, and how one small moment can remind a nation what truly matters. When a retired Marine quietly flipping burgers handed Donald Trump a coin, no one expected that gesture would change both of their lives and inspire millions. It was a stormy afternoon in a quiet town in Georgia. President Donald Trump's motorcade was en route after a private event with veterans when the downpour forced a sudden stop. They pulled into the nearest safe haven, a modest McDonald's, tucked between gas stations and a laundromat. Inside, everything halted the second Trump walked through the door. Patrons froze, whispers spread, cameras were subtly raised. But behind the counter, a man continued flipping burgers. His name tag read, Lucas, team member. Trump, removing his coat and shaking off raindrops, stepped forward with two Secret Service agents in tow. Big Mac and coffee, please, he said with an approachable smile. Lucas finally turned, revealing a face aged not just by time, but by experience. Coming right up, he replied coolly. There was something in his stance, disciplined, firm, unmistakably military. You look like you've served, Trump noted. Retired Marine, 26 years, Lucas answered, without a beat. Trump offered his hand. Thank you for your service. Lucas paused, then shook it. Maybe wait till after the burger, he joked, with a slight smirk. Trump took a booth in the corner, unaware that this unplanned break was about to become something unforgettable. The restaurant's TV played an old documentary about military sacrifice. The president glanced up as Lucas delivered the tray. Trump asked, Lucas, right? Yes, sir. Lucas Harland. Harland, that name sounds familiar. Lucas didn't answer. His eyes carried stories unspoken. Trump invited him to sit. Lucas hesitated, then joined him. You don't strike me as a guy who just flips burgers. Life's complicated, Lucas said with a wry laugh. I served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Retired as a gunnery sergeant, then I lost my wife. Everything changed. Trump's tone softened. I'm sorry, thanks. This job, it's simple. It keeps me grounded. Lucas reached into his pocket and slid a small velvet pouch across the table. I meant to mail this, but since you're here, inside was a weighty coin, gold and black, etched with a soaring eagle and a phrase, honor, above all, Reckon Delta L. Harland. Trump examined it closely. What is this? A challenge coin, Lucas said. But not just any coin. That one was given to me by my best friend, Captain Roy Kincaid. He died saving 6 Marines. I was one of them. Trump's expression shifted. I remember that. We honored his mother at the White House. He always carried 2 things, his father's photo and that coin. He told me if I ever met someone who truly earned it, I'd know, Lucas continued, voice trembling, after I lost my way. One of your speeches reminded me I still mattered. You brought back dignity for people like me. That coin was meant for you. A hush fell over the room. Even the friars seemed too quiet. Trump, visibly moved, said, I'm just a man, a politician. Lucas shook his head. To us, you were a voice when we had none. A woman nearby wiped away tears. A man placed his hand over his heart. The room transformed. A McDonald's booth became sacred ground. Trump asked softly, are you sure? Lucas nodded. You reminded me what it means to be a Marinovan without the uniform. Later, Lucas's manager Tanya approached him. You've been here 2 years and never said any of this. Lucas shrugged. It wasn't about me, but it is. You saved lives. I just came to heal. Back at the booth, Trump stood. Would you mind if I addressed your team? Tanya nodded, eyes glistening. Everyone, Trump called out. This man right here isn't just flipping burgers. He's one of the finest examples of humility and honor I've seen. A crew member filmed it quietly. That TikTok. It hit 200,000 views in 20 minutes. By nightfall, 4 million. Trump was captured saying, this coin will stay with me for the rest of my life. Lucas had no idea. He walked home as usual, to a modest apartment with worn carpets and his late wife's photo on the shelf. He turned on the radio and smiled to himself, not for the attention, but hoping someone, somewhere, might believe again. The next morning, Lucas's phone buzzed nonstop. One call made him pause. Baron Trump, it wasn't a prank. My dad saw the video. He talks about you constantly. That coin, it changed him. He carries it everywhere now. Lucas chuckled. It's just a coin, not to us. We'd like to invite you to DC. I'm just a line cook now, Lucas replied. Exactly why we want you. You reminded him why he started this journey. Lucas spent the day walking through town, past old memories, his first job, the bench where he cried after the funeral. That night, he opened a box beneath his bed. Inside was his uniform, and a letter from his late wife. Promise me you won't fade away. There's too much good left in you. He picked up the phone. Tell him I accept. The invitation arrived, hand-delivered by the Secret Service. Lucas packed a small bag, just his uniform and a photo of his wife. He told only Tanya. She hugged him, whispering, you're America's quiet thunder. In Washington, Lucas was escorted through the White House, through historic corridors, into the Oval Office. Trump stood by the resolute desk, coin in hand. "Lucas, welcome." They shook hands. Then Trump said something unexpected. "I want to build something with you. For veterans." He opened a folder. Inside, plans for a center, job training, counseling, family healing spaces. "I've wanted this for years," Trump admitted, "but it needed a soul. That coin reminded me." He looked Lucas in the eye. "Will you help lead it?" "We'll call it the Harlan Center." Lucas, overcome, whispered, "If it helps someone like I was, I'm in." The next day, a press conference stunned reporters. Trump introduced him. "He flipped burgers last week. Today, he flips history." Lucas took the mic. "I didn't come for glory. I came because I remember what it feels like to be forgotten. This center, it's for the ones still fighting silent battles." Applause thundered. And while some media called it political theater, Lucas stayed grounded. No first-class flights. No headlines. He returned home quietly. Tanya cried when he returned. "You've got a center named after you." Lucas just smiled. "Still, your line cook." But his mission had changed. He spoke at schools and shelters, holding up a replica of that coin. "Healing doesn't need a podium," he'd say. "It starts with someone listening." Donations flowed in. Volunteers followed. Veterans, builders, students all united to create a space that was about belonging. Months later, Trump, Lucas, and Barron broke ground together. A crowd of veterans stood with shovels, not red carpets. Inside, one room stood, out the room of coins. It held challenge coins from around the world. At its center, 2 coins. One from Captain Roy, one from Trump. A plaque read, "One man believed again." The other listened. Even Melania visited in private. She laid a white rose beneath the display and whispered, "He sleeps with that coin by his bed." Later, a troubled teen named Anthony visited the center, angry after losing his brother in Afghanistan. Lucas handed him a replica coin. "When you find what matters, pass it on." That coin helped Anthony change his path. The first Veterans Day ceremony at the Harlan Center drew thousands. Trump returned not as a politician, but as a friend. "This coin was never about war," he said, "but about a Marine who chose healing." Lucas followed. "We may hang up our uniforms, but our mission to serve, love, and heal never ends." A year later, they met again. Same booth, same McDonald's. Lucas placed another coin on the table. "This one's not from a battlefield. It's from the heart, for peace." Trump was speechless. Years passed. Dozens of Harlan Centers opened nationwide. Lucas never ran for office, never sought fame. He just kept showing up. And one morning, after 83 years, Lucas passed away peacefully in his sleep. At his funeral, Trump placed the original coin on his casket. "I carried it as long as I could," he said. "Now it's time for it to come home." This story reminds us that heroes don't always wear capes or uniforms. Sometimes, they wear aprons, flip burgers, and carry coins that change lives. In a world often divided, one quiet Marine reminded us what truly matters: service, humility, and listening. And maybe that's how we heal.